Hi there, thanks for joining us for today's video. Please make sure that you click subscribe to keep up to date with all of our content. This will include short how-to videos, webinars and demonstrations of all of our products. Check out the links in the description below to check out any content related to today's video, and we hope that you enjoy it. So for those of you that haven't met me before, my name's Alice Langley, and I'm the training manager here at Tobii Dynavox UK. I've been with the company for a little over 4 years, and previous to that as a speech and language therapist working in paediatrics. So today, the aim of this session is just to give you quite a broad overview of Boardmaker 7. So we're going to basically go over all of the main kind of functions of Boardmaker and what you can do with it. And then in future sessions, what we will do is go into more detail. So we'll have some sessions around creating printed materials, interactive materials, using the Boardmaker Student Centre. So today is just really going to be an overview. And then if you'd like to find out more about specific parts of it, then please do feel free to sign up to one of our future sessions as well. So for those of you that are maybe new or that have used kind of older session kind of versions, of Boardmaker in the past, we've had quite a few different versions. We've had version 6, we've had Boardmaker Plus, SD Pro, Studio, and most recently we've had Boardmaker Online. What we have done is we've kind of tried to simplify it a lot, and we've now created this one version of Boardmaker, which is now called Boardmaker 7. So there are a couple of ways in which you can access Boardmaker 7. There's the standard version, which is a one-off purchase, and per license what you get is 2 installations. So you can install Boardmaker 7 on 2 computers and have access to those to Boardmaker 7 on the installed computers. If you want to have wider access, we also have a subscription version, and we can vary this depending on how many users that you've got, but this allows unlimited installations. So you can have it on as many computers as you want, and you log in using the user account, which activates the kind of login on that computer. You also, with the subscription version, you get some kind of additions. So you have regular symbol updates, which happen at the moment bi-weekly. We also have access to our instructional solutions, which include things like our Reading Avenue curriculum and Core First Learning. And we also have access to editable versions of activities to go. So with Boardmaker 7, there's a number of different things that we can do. But essentially it's a single platform which is going to allow us to create activities, so those can be printed or interactive. We can also find activities that we've created or that others have created, as well as curricula such as Reading Avenue that I mentioned earlier. If we are using a subscription, we can also then play those activities on things like a user's devices or iPads. And also via a subscription, we've got access to assigning activities to students for things like remote learning, as well as collecting some data based on usage and the activities that they're using. So with the Boardmaker 7 subscription, we can do create our activities, assign them to our students, and we can monitor their use through the My Boardmaker website, and then our students can access those and play them via the Student Centre. So we're going to have a look at each of these components. So we've got the editor where we create, the My Boardmaker website, which is where we manage our accounts, and then the Student Centre, which is where we play our accounts. So I will go through each of those today. And as I said, this is going to be quite a broad overview, but in future sessions, what we will do is go into each of those into a little bit more detail. So hopefully this will just give you kind of an introduction as to what Boardmaker 7 is. So I'm just going to go through here. So first of all, looking at the Boardmaker 7 editor. So at the moment, it is compatible with Windows, Mac and Chromebooks. With this, we can create activities in a number of different ways. So we can either create them from scratch from a blank activity. We can use a template, and we've got over 400 different templates available. I'll give you a bit of an insight to those today. And we can also create activities from old Boardmaker resources. So if you've been using a previous version of Boardmaker, then Boardmaker 7 is backwards compatible, meaning that you can bring in those activities that you've created and been using in older versions and bring them into Boardmaker 7. We've got in Boardmaker 7, we've got access to over 50,000 symbols that are available in 4 different styles. We've also got an integrated web search that we can use for images. You can create multi-page documents, you can print a PDF, and we've also got this addition of finding and editing activities to go, which is a set of ready-made activities to be used within school or an educational setting. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come into the Boardmaker 7 editor, and I'm going to kind of guide you through this a little bit and talk about some of the main features within here. So once I've got it installed onto my computer, I'm going to log in to my account, and then the first thing that's going to come up is it's actually going to show me any of my recent activities. So if I want to jump into an activity that maybe I was creating yesterday and I needed to finish it off, I can access it quite quickly here on my recent activities. If I click on the My Boardmaker tab, what it's going to do here is it's going to open and show me all of the different activities that I've created. So you can see here, it will show me any folders that I've got, and then it will also just list all of the activities that I've got. Now, if I'm somebody that's created loads of activities and I just want to find it quickly, I can use this search function at the top. If I kind of vaguely know what it was called, and it will help me kind of narrow down some of my activities. I don't have to search through pages and pages of them. I'll talk a little bit about the curriculum button a little bit later on. But what I want to show you quickly now is creating an activity. And I'm going to do it in 2 ways. The first way I'm going to do it is I'm going to create an activity from blank. So as I said, this is going to be a quick overview. If you do want to go into this into a bit more detail, do come to our future sessions. We've got one that's focused on creating printed activities and one that's on interactive. So if I click this green new button here, it's going to open up this kind of new activity window. And on the left-hand side, it gives me an option to create something from a blank, or I can use a template. So the first thing that I'm going to do is show you how to make something from a blank. So if I click on there, I've got several options. I can either do a printed activity, either in portrait or landscape, or I can create an interactive activity. Now I'm just going to go for a printed activity in landscape. I'm going to select that so that it's highlighted, and I'm going to come down to the green create button down here. So now this has opened up my editor. So this is where I'm going to be able to create my activity, and in this instance we're doing it from scratch. So I'm just going to close this tab for now, this pages tab, just to make this a bit bigger, but I'll come back to that in a second. So I'm just going to make a really simple grid. I'm just going to show you how to use some of the basic functions, basically. So the first thing that I want to do is create a button. So I'm going to click on this button tool up here on my toolbar, and I'm going to bring my cursor down to my blank page, and I'm simply just going to click and drag. And I can make a button whatever size that I want to do. I'm going to go for this size. I can move it around. But I want to make a grid of, say, let's say 9 buttons. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use this tool up here, which is called the spray tool. And if I click on the spray tool and then bring my cursor to the kind of center of the button that I've already created, and then click and drag out and down, that's going to spray that button, and I can make as many as I want. And it's going to basically create rows and columns so that I can quickly make a grid. When I let go, when I've got enough, so I just want 9, I can see that all of these buttons are highlighted. So I can actually do things like pick up and move them around, Or in this case, I want to just make them bigger so that they fill the page. So I'm going to come down here. I'm going to stretch them out so that I make them nice and big. So the next thing that I want to do is fill in this template. So I'm actually just going to select out of here, and I'm going to select my first button, and I'm simply going to type in my word and then hit the return button. And this is going to open up my symbol searcher. So you can see here, there's a number of different things kind of going on. You can see that I searched for the word cat. Just underneath here, it gives me a couple of options for searching for that word. So at the moment, I've got this button highlighted where it will search for the word cat anywhere. But I might want to search for anything that begins with the word cat. And if we come down, you can see things like we've got cat food, cat litter, cat house, cat scan, and then it'll go into words that have got that at the beginning. Or I might want it ending with, or I might just want that whole word cat. If I just come back to this anyway, you'll see that there's a couple of different categories as well, where I maybe be able to find some words that have got cat in there. But for now, I just want to look for a cat. And if I search down, you can see up here that it says at the moment that it's got 481 results. And I can scroll through and I can see there's lots of different types of symbols. And if I just focus on these symbols up here at the top, I've got this nice kind of grey and white cat. This red cat is actually a high contrast symbol, so used for those that have got visual impairments. So I'm just going to use this one. I'm quite happy with that cat. And then you can see that it's actually just moved on to the next button for me to highlight. So again, I'm just going to type in and hit enter. This time, I'm going to highlight these buttons up here at the top. So at the moment, we're looking for symbols, but if I click on my media, what I can actually do here is I can pull in some symbols that I've created in the past, or I can pull in a photo or a picture from my computer. So it might be that I want to use a picture of a particular hat. So I can bring in something from my computer, or if I click on the web search, it's going to do an integrated web search, and it's going to use an image search to bring up some different images of hats, and I can scroll through those. And maybe I want to use this one. And then it will bring that image in. And then I could just go on and continue to fill in my grid. So I'm just going to go and do this quickly. Pop, pop. And you can see, as I know what I'm doing, I can do this quite quickly, as I know how to navigate these. And all I'm doing is selecting the button that I want to fill in, typing, hitting enter, and then selecting either the symbol or the media that I want to use from there. There we go. And last one. Oh, perfect. And I'm going to go for this one. So now I've created my button, I've sprayed it into a grid, and then I've quickly filled that in using symbols, and I've got an image there as well. So the next thing that I might want to do is kind of change a little bit about the way that this grid looks. So the first thing that I want to do is I actually want to make the font of my labels a little bit bigger, because the words are quite small at the moment. I want them a little bit more visible. So I want to highlight all of these cells so I can change them all in one go. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to click outside of the buttons up here and then click and drag, and you'll see this kind of blue dotted box. And if I cover that over all of the boxes, it's going to highlight all of my buttons. And then I'm going to come over to the right hand side here where I've got this properties panel. And if I scroll down a little bit here, I've got a font section. So I can choose if I know what size font I want, or I can use this toggle up button here that's going to make my font a bit bigger. Oops. Maybe not. Let's try it this way. So let's say I want it a bit bigger. See what that looks like. Perfect. So you can see that it's made my font a bit bigger, but it's also readjusted the size of the symbol. So we've not got any kind of overlapping or anything like that. I might want to change my font as well. So in school, let's say we use Comic Sans. So I want to make sure that we've got that. I can change the font color if I want to. I'm quite happy with that at the moment. I may want to change the border on my buttons as well. So I can go ahead and do that. And let me just see if there's anything else I wanted to do. The other thing that I can do is that I can change the fill on the background on the buttons as well. So let's say, for example, I wanted to choose these three up at the top. So again, I'm just clicking and dragging so I can highlight all three of these. And let's say I want to change these to a green color. I'm going to click OK, and that's going to change that to green. Let's change these ones to, oops, fill. I'm going to go red for those ones. Click OK. And finally, these ones, going to highlight them. Scroll down to background, fill, and let's go for yellow for those ones. Fantastic. So really quickly there, I've created some symbols and I've coloured them, and I have changed the font. Now, let's say I'm doing a matching game or something and I want multiple pages in this activity. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this page tool up here. So there's a little kind of darker blue box with pages and an arrow. And if I click on that, I can now see that I've got this one page, but if I wanted to add multiple, I could add a new page, and that's just going to bring in a blank page for me. But in this instance, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to click on these three buttons that are above that one, the current page that I've got, and I'm just going to duplicate that. And then I'm going to come and highlight the second page. And what I want to do here is I'm going to duplicate it a couple of times, actually, because I want 3 copies of it. I'm just going to select the second copy, and I'm going to come and highlight all of these again. Oops. There we go. And this time what I want to do is actually want to remove the word from this set, and I just want there to be the symbols there. So again, in my properties panel, I'm just going to scroll down and I'm going to click on here, and I've got an option here just to remove the word, and I've just got the symbol. And then on my third page, I'm going to do the same thing, but this time I am going to click on word only. So now I've got 3 different pages, one with the symbol and the word, one with just the symbol, and one with just the word. And we can do a really nice, quick matching activity of word to symbol, let's say. So that was very quickly showing you how we can create something from scratch. So I want to make sure here that I'm going to go ahead and save this activity. So I'm going to click on the 3 little lines up at the top, click on Save As, and I'm going to go for word matching. Oops. So I'm going to name that and save it. Oops, I've obviously done this a few times. I must mix up my activities that I do. Here we go. And then now that's saved. If I wanted to print that, I would go ahead and click on this Create PDF. And what that's going to do is save it as a PDF that I can then go ahead and print off. So I'm just going to close that for now. And so you can see now that on my recent activities, I've got this activity that I've just created. And if I click on my Boardmaker, it will appear there as well. I'll scroll down. There we go. It's the most recent one that I did. So now I'm just going to quickly show you how to create an activity, but this time we're going to do it with a template. So again, I'm going to click on this new button here, the green button. And then this time we're going to have a look at templates. So instead of clicking on this blank button, again, it's going to show me any of my kind of recently used templates. Or I can filter through maybe if I want to create a printed activity, or if I want to create an interactive activity. And then you can see here that we've got a whole load of different templates that we've actually categorized. So I can go into things like classroom routines, and it will give me some examples there. I'm going to go into sorting. And then this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to select a template to use. So a couple of things that we can do here. If it's a template that I know, I can just click on that and click on create it and it'll open it up. But if it's a template that I've maybe not used before, I can use this button down here that says select from sample, and what that will do is it'll open up that template already filled in so that you can get a bit of a feel for what that template does. I've used this before, so I'm just going to click on create and I'm just going to quickly show you how we can create something from templates. So the great thing about the templates, as you can see, is that all the kind of formatting is done, and all I really need to do is fill in the specific content of what I want to put in. So I'm going to make some changes to this template, and I'm going to call this sorting fruit and vegetables. I'm going to click here on group 1. I'm going to change this to fruit. And then you'll see here that there, I'm just going to close this, hopefully make it a bit bigger for you guys to see. On the template, there are some little bits of red writing. And these are basically instructions for you as to how to fill in that template. When you have created that template and you play it, that red writing won't be visible, but it is visible when you're in editing mode, and basically so that you know what you need to do to fill in that template. So I am going to go here and fill this in. And say mushrooms. Perfect. So now I've placed into here the items that I want in the group in the buttons above, so my fruit, and then in here the ones that don't belong to that group. And so now if I hit play, show what that looks like, it's now going to ask me to sort the fruits into here, and I'm just going to click and drag.
That's right, raspberries belongs in fruit. No, peas does not belong in fruit.
And this one at the moment is set up so it's giving me a little bit of feedback. So it's telling me which ones do fit and which ones don't fit. So I'm just going to stop that. And again, I'm going to come in and I'm going to save that item. So save as fruit sorting. 21. Perfect. Okay, so let me just return to dashboard. So again, you can see it saved that activity there. So we've had a look at the editor and how we can very quickly make activities. What I want to show you next is the next component, which is the My Boardmaker website, which is where it's going to help us to kind of manage some of our activities. And then if we are using a subscription, we can do things like create student accounts and assign activities to students. So I'm going to go in now and show you how to do that. So I've just come to the Boardmaker website and I've logged in. And so here I'm at the home page there. And then across here, I've got a bunch of different options of things that I can do. So what I'm going to show you is how we can create an account for a student, assign activities to that student, and then I'm going to show you how that student can then access those activities themselves via the student center. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to come into my student roster management. And here I can see a bunch of all the different students that I've already created. But if I scroll down here to the bottom, there's a section here where I can add a student. So I'm just going to come in here and create a student. And I'm just going to fill in a couple of details here. I'm going to create a password for him. I'm just going to put that as Langley, nice and easy. There's a really nice option here where I can actually put a parent email address in here. And what this will do is that it will actually generate an email to parents that will show them how to set up the student center at home. So if you're wanting to either send some homework via the student center, some activities that you've created, or maybe you've still got some students that are remote learning, the parents can actually set up the student centre on an iPad that they've got at home, or maybe a laptop, or maybe the student's own device that they're using at home as well. I could put in a profile picture. I'm going to skip that for now. And then here is where I can assign an instructor. And the instructor is basically the person with a Boardmaker 7 account that is going to be able to assign activities to that student. So it may be their teacher, their speech and language therapist, their teaching assistant, and it will be somebody that's within your organisation. So I'm going to come in here and put myself in there. And then I'm also going to put Debbie in there, because maybe Debbie is the speech and language therapist and I'd like her to be able to create some activities for that student too. I'm going to save that and close that. And then now I'm going to come to this My Boardmaker section here, which is going to show me all those activities that I've created today and previously. And I'm actually going to come in and assign some of those activities to that Peter student account that I've created. So I want Pete to be able to do this fruit sorting activity. So I'm going to come across to the right-hand side, and there's a bunch of blue icons. And then this one here, if I hover over this one, it's got a person and an arrow. And this is where I can assign that activity. So if I click on there, it's then going to show me the different students that I've got. I'm going to assign that to Peter. I also want him to do this matching activity. And then let's say we've got a couple of other things that we want him to do as well. So let's go there. Okay. So now, if I come into my students and go to student management, I can see that student Peter that I created. If I click on him, there's a couple of things. I can find his username and password, so if we need to kind of remind ourselves of that. There's also a QR code here that can be used when we're setting up the student centre, and I'll show you that in a second. But I can also see down here the different activities that I've created for Peter. And I've assigned them to him. So these are his assignments. And I can actually do things like maybe I want him to do this matching activity first. I can move that up. And maybe then I want him to do the fruit sorting. I can move that up as well. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what this now looks like from Peter's point of view. So we've created activities for him. We've got him an account and I've assigned those activities to him. But how does he now access those? So he's going to use the Boardmaker Student Centre, which is a free app that anybody can download. And it goes on iPads and Windows devices. And anybody can access it, regardless of whether you've got an account or not. But what we're actually going to do is, if I click on this menu section here, there's an option for logging in. And I can either log in as an instructor, but I want to log in as a student because I want to log in as Peter. So I'm going to click on here, and then it's going to give me an option to use a QR code, which is this QR code that we had on Peter's account. So we can scan that using our camera, or alternatively, we can do a manual login, which is where it's going to ask me for his username and password. So I think it was I'm just going to put that password in. It's also going to ask for this institution ID. Now, I'm going to show you how to find that. And that's going to be back on the My Boardmaker website. And if I click on the home button here, just underneath where I've got all of my details, and there's an institution ID here. And if I just copy and paste this, I can put that in there. And then Pete can log in. So now we can see those activities that Peter and I assigned to Peter. Now, the great thing about this is he will initially need an internet connection to download these activities. So you can see here, I can just go ahead and download them. But once they're downloaded and on his iPad, he won't necessarily need to connect to the internet again. He will only need to have an internet connection if, let's say, I've assigned some new activities, and he'll just need to refresh his screen once he's connected to the internet, and he can go in and use those. So let's show you what that looks like, and I'm going to go into this activity that we've created. So it's the fruit sorting one that we made together, and let's say this is going to be Pete.
No, peas does not belong in fruit.
And we're going to get him to have a go. He's going to get a couple wrong. There we go. And then once it's completed that, we can go on to next, and created, we've ended, reached the end of the activity, so I can exit. And we can do that activity again, or we can go into another one. Something to note about the Student Centre, the great thing about it is that we can use this with a range of different access methods. We will go into more detail about this on our session that focuses on the Student Centre, but for those of us that have got students that are maybe using eye gaze or switch, they can actually use those access methods and therefore use the Student Centre on their device. So if they've got an eye gaze device or something that's using switch, we can set the settings within the Student Centre so that any activity that they open will use the access method for them. So the last little bit that I want to show you is we talked a little bit about being able to gather some data around what our students have done and used within the Student Centre. So I'm going to pop back into the website, and I'm going to come back to Peter's student account. So I'm going to go to Students, Student Management, find Peter's account here. And if I scroll down, I can click on this tab here that says Performance Results. And we'll see here that it will show me when Peter has actually used those activities. So it'll tell me how many sessions he's done, so how many times he's accessed the Student Centre and those activities, when it started, when it ended, how long he spent on that. And then for this particular activity that we did, which was an interactive activity that had right and wrong answers, it can actually give us some performance results. So if I just click down on here, it's going to show me the answers that Peter gave and the selections that he made. So it will tell me, you know, whether he's got things right or wrong, that kind of thing. So it can help you to kind of track some of that progress within that student as well. And then, as I mentioned, if I just go back to, oops, sorry, I didn't need to do that. Go back to assignments. If we then wanted to provide some new activities for Peter, we could go in and we could assign some more. I can even delete these ones. Let's say, right, we're done with matching. I'm going to delete that one. We're going to delete this one because he doesn't use it anymore. And then when he's next connected to the internet and goes back to his assignments, you see that's refreshing. It's now taken away those ones that I've removed. So hopefully that's given you quite a nice flow of how we can create, manage, and then play those activities with a Boardmaker 7 subscription. I'm just going to pop back into the editor just for a second, because I said I'd show you where we have some of the curriculum activities. So if I click on my Boardmaker here, for those that have got a subscription, if we click on the my curriculum section, I can come in here and add a couple of different options. But these activities to go are ready-made curriculum that we can either just go ahead and print off, or we can actually create some of our own. And we've got a bunch of different themes, and there's actually 40 weeks worth of content within here. So I can go into, let's say, family life and birthdays. We've actually differentiated these to 3 different levels. And then when I go in there, I've got a whole bunch of different activities that I can come in. And let's say we want to do this book activity. And we can, if I add that to my curriculum, I'm just going to add that in and close this out. I've now got these activities that I can come in. I can either edit them or I can play them within that editor as well. And again, I can start assigning those and use those with Peter. We've got these core first communication books. So these are ready kind of made communication books that we can use and edit and use as either a robust system within itself or as a backup to maybe our high-tech system. So we've got it in two different sizes. We've got a 6x6 grid and a 7x7. And again, I'm just gonna add, oh, it's been very slow, add this in. But what this allows me to do is basically create a ready printed, a ready book that I can go in, edit, personalize, and then straight away I've got a nice robust communication book that I can use with that student. I think that's gonna crash a little bit there. So let me just check that that's everything that I wanted to cover. Yeah, so that is everything for now. Let me just bring this back up so that you can sign up here. So just a reminder to sign up for the next session that we've got, which is going to be looking at creating printed materials. It's actually going to be on Thursday, the 1st of April. So you can use this QR code, or there'll be a link in the chat for you to sign up to. Alternatively, if you want to get in touch with one of us, maybe you want a more personalized training for your team, or you want some demos on some of our other products, whether it's software or hardware. If you scan this QR code, you will also be able to get in touch with your local account manager, who will be able to sort something out for you. So that's it from me today. What I'm going to do now is open up to any questions that we've got. Debbie, are there any questions in the chat that you'd like me to go through?
It's been a very quiet bunch today, no questions whatsoever. So please feel free to chat things in, or again, because Alice is finished, we're more than happy if you wanted to unmute yourself and ask any questions.
Yeah, absolutely. So go ahead if you've got anything, you know, based on what I've just talked about, or maybe even something else. Please do unmute or put something in the chat. If not, thank you so much for joining us, and I hopefully see you at the next session. I'll hang on for a few minutes just in case somebody's got some more questions, but if not, we'll see you again next time. Thanks, Amanda. Glad you enjoyed it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Alice.
Thank you. Not a problem. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, Philomena. Thanks, Debbie. Thanks, Jill. Thanks, Nikki and Laura. Thanks, Pamela. Thanks, Joanne. Thank you, Anne. Hi, Debbie. Yes, so you're just asking whether you're not able to attend, but will you be able to watch a recording? So absolutely. What I would do is, if you sign up for the session anyway, what I will do is after the session, I'll send out an email with a link to the recording in it. So sign up to it, even if you're not able to attend, and you will get the link for the recording so you can go back and watch it. Great, thanks, Debbie. All right, I think that might be everything. If you think of something afterwards, as I say, you'll get a follow-up email. So please feel free to respond to that email if you've got any other questions that you forgot to ask. But if not, thank you very much for joining us. Debbie, thanks for helping out today. And we will see everybody again soon.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone.